I'm gonna record this video, and yes, my hair's wet because I just got out of the shower. So I'm gonna make this video, then I'm gonna watch High School Musical 2 and 3. I want to get done in one night because I really do not want to watch those movies anymore. But let's talk about some Disney Plus news. I'm gonna start with the things that I'm most excited about, and then we'll get to the one I'm least excited about but have the most to say about. So a while ago it was announced that Artemis Fowl was skipping theaters and going to Disney Plus, and now it has been officially announced that it is coming out on June 12th. Now, I was not anticipating Artemis Fowl. I did not think the trailers looked very good, but I was still gonna watch it, and now it's just easier to watch now because it's on Disney Plus. And I still have to review some other Disney Plus movies like Togo, Timmy Failure Mistakes Were Made. I gotta talk about some other ones on there. And I was pretty excited, to say the least, to at least go to the theater and watch it, but unfortunately I can't. I wasn't like hyped. I was just like, well, it's always exciting. The thing is with me, I'm always excited whenever I go see a movie in the theater or whenever I just watch a movie at home or whatever. I'm excited regardless. Like, there are movies I dread watching, yes, like High School Musical and crap, because they're not going to be good, but at least I am like, okay, I got the experience of that movie. That was something that got me interested, that I at least turned it on. You know, I do get excited. It's like, it may be different levels of excited, but there's always a little bit of excitement for everything I see and consume media-wise. So, you know, I was pretty hyped. Because, I mean, if it had been really bad, I could have made a review of it, and it would have been nice. And also, probably would have bombed hard, so I probably wouldn't have been the most popular reviews on YouTube. Well, not the most, but like one that got more views because I'm one of the few people reviewing it, right? But I guess less people are going to review it, but I'm going to check it out on Disney Plus. Now, this is based on a book series. I've never read the book series. Let me explain how I review and judge movies on books. If I've read the book, cool. If I haven't read the book, okay. Well, I'm never going to compare the movie to the book unless there is something like, what's a good example? Percy Jackson, which I'm actually going to talk about in this movie. Those movies in this video. That is something that really makes me frustrated because the books, I don't like the books. They're a lot better than the movies though, and they don't adapt the books well at all, and they don't adapt anything. They don't even get the point of the book across. That should be the main problem with the adaptation, that they don't get the point of the source material across, right? That's a huge issue. But for the most part, I enjoy movies over books, and some people really hate that, but here's the fact. In a movie, there's acting, pacing, visual effects, lighting, cinematography, editing, so many different things that have a movie come together. A movie takes hundreds of people working together and creating things and come up with ideas, and making that come to life on a film is a lot harder to do than it is in book form, because really all you need to do to make an objectively good book is have good writing, good pacing, and some good characters, and explore your themes well, and make sure you think through your implications and stuff like that. But it's such a higher bar for a movie to be good than it is for a book to be good. Books take a lot less work and time for the most part than a movie does. You know, there's never been a book that was in production for like almost half a century that I know of, right? But there's tons of films that have had that type of production. So I'm just saying, you know, So that's how I kind of review movies based on books. I can bring up comparisons, but I don't like to because I feel like a lot of movies are overhated because they're not great at adaptations of the books, which is like, but then you ignore the cinematography, the acting, the pacing, the visual effects, and stuff like that, you know? Right? Because if I compared Harry Potter to the books, I don't like Harry Potter, but there are a lot of great aspects to those movies, like visual effects, acting, and pacing. Not so much pacing, but acting. Well, some of the performances, not from the child performances. I can't believe why those are so accepted as good performances. They're all right, but they're not great. But, you know, Harry Potter is just a thing I don't like in general. So, but I'm just saying, like, you know, there's so many better aspects in the movies to be appreciated that can't be appreciated in a book format because of what a book is. That it's just like a movie I appreciate more because it just is more. And that's just the thing about books and movies. You know, I don't like comparing a book to a movie. I think it's unfair. I think it diminishes the medium of film in general, and I just think it's useless criticism because, okay, but how is it as a movie, not as an adaptation to a book? And keep in mind, I'm not saying you can't like it if it's not accurate to the book. Like, that's totally fine. That's totally justified. But I feel like if you're a critic, you need to acknowledge there is good editing, there is good cinematography, pacing, acting, you know, all these things that help make a film good that you should acknowledge and shouldn't be just focusing on, well, it's not as good as the book. And, you know, and also a lot of people think, oh, it's like almost impossible for a movie to be better than a book. I'm like, have you seen this movie? Fantastic movie, better than the book. Even the author agrees. Have you seen this movie? Better than the book. Even the author agrees. And it is directed by a man who freaking loves the book. And I have read the book and seen the movie. Both fantastic. Let's see, what's another good one here? I mean, this Charlotte's Web adaptation isn't great, but it's about on par with the book. The book is like a little bit better because of just how the tone and atmosphere of the book is allowed to be a lot more of what it should be in book format. But because it's a kid's movie, you can't really do that as much. The Iron Giant, even better than the book. Just nothing like the book. And this movie has so much more themes and layers and different stuff. That's another one that's really great. And one that I think is a good example here is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Very different from the book. But there's so much greater aspects to this movie that are so much better than the book could ever be. Like Gene Wilder's performance, the tone, the atmosphere, everything about that is not present in the book. So, that's another one. This is about on par with the book, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. This is the Chuck Jones animated short from the 60s. Not the crappy Jim Carrey live action version and the Illumination garbage version. They're both garbage, honestly, but yeah. Another one I think is about on par. This is more of a comic adaptation. I think this one's actually probably better, Death of Superman. And then what I have here, let me grab. Legitimately on par with the graphic novel, Batman Under the Red Hood, and yeah, it has the movie in the back, and this is the comic. But yeah, I'm just saying, this, you know, it is possible. People need to stop trashing books. But that's enough I have to say about that. The next bit of news, Hamilton is coming to Disney Plus in July. Now, this was a movie that was finished, and it needed a distributor, and Disney had bid $70 million, $75 million, something like that, to get the rights to this movie so they could distribute it, because it was like a bidding war between some other studios. I can't remember what the other studios were, but they had got the rights and they were going to release this film theatrically in October, but they just decided, let's drop it in July. And I am hyped. I want to see a version of Hamilton. I did not get to see this movie on Broadway, this production on Broadway, and I hope that I will get to eventually one. I don't even know if it still runs on Broadway. I would love to actually get to do that, but I don't know if I ever will get a chance to. But this is the next best thing, so we'll see how this film version turns out. Maybe it will be on the same level as Cats, but I don't think so. I think Cats is the greatest film ever made. That's a lie. It's not. I've never seen Cats. Don't know if I could bear to see it, but we'll see. So the next film we're going to talk about here, or this isn't a film, this is a Disney Plus original series that has been announced. And this is something that I hoped was going to happen. It was being rumored. I wanted this to happen for a while now. So I've read all the Percy Jackson books. I've heard Lightning Thief at least twice at school. I've seen the movies many times. I have it. I still have it right here. Autographed by him and her. I don't know their names, and I still have not learned their names. And you gotta wonder, how did I get an autograph? Well, I'll explain that in a minute, and I not know these people's names. So, I saw the Percy Jackson movies in theaters, both of them. They were directed by Chris Columbus, which is kind of interesting, but they're not that great of films. And I enjoyed them for what they are. And I guess because I watched them then, I still kind of enjoy them to an extent. They're not good, though. And Sea of Monsters was actually in the hospital. I saw it in the theater, but I was in the hospital at the time. The actors showed up, and we got to meet them, and I got their autographs. And they didn't really shake anybody's hand or talk to anyone too much. They just kind of sat in the back room, signed autographs, and laughed like it was the bare minimum of what these celebrities could do. It's very evident that a lot of these people involved with these movies, they really didn't care about what they were doing. And I don't think the books were very great books to begin with, but they so severely butchered the point of the books. And any fans of the books will tell you this. Like, they don't even adapt the point of the books. And they're fantastic books for what they are. I don't love them. I don't even really like them. I think they're all right books, but they're just not great adaptations because what do they do? They don't even, if you've ever read the books, and I'm not going to say much about how they don't get the books across because there's spoilers for the movie and the books, and you should check out the books at least if you are interested in them. And if you want to check out the movies, that's your decision, but I would not recommend it. But the point is, there's a reason that those movies bombed and they didn't do that well, and they had to switch studios and stuff. And they decided that Percy Jackson was done after Sea of Monsters, and I guess they want a Harry Potter type thing. And that's one of the things I really hate about Harry Potter. It's that this whole trend where people making crap like Hunger Games, which if you've read the Hunger Games books, there's no way you could do a PG-13 version of the freaking Hunger Games. It's nothing like the books. Maze Runner, just garbage movies. Divergent series, don't ever want to watch. It's just like, I don't want to watch any of those series. I've never watched any of the series. I've read part of the first Maze Runner book. No, I don't want to read anymore. I've read all the Hunger Games books. They're all great. I read through none of the Divergent series. I never want to, but I just don't want to watch any of those films. I really don't. And I think that it was just a bad trend where we were adapting these young adult novels thinking we could all be Harry Potter, when it's like Harry Potter was good well thought out process of making these movies, number one. And number two, Harry Potter was an obscenely popular book series. It was abnormally popular for the type of book it was. There were not, a lot of books don't get to be as popular as those books were. Okay, they just don't. There's never been a book series as popular as Harry Potter is in the last 20 years. There just hasn't been. And we have just taken these books like, let's publish this into a movie, or let's make this into a movie. And it's like, it's never worked out. And Harry Potter was not even something I thought could work as a book. I still wanted to do it, or not as a book, as a movie. They still need to do it as a TV show. If you ask my thoughts on it, that's the best Harry Potter adaptation you could possibly do. But I just don't want to see any more adaptations like this, because they're not good, and they're not made to be good. They're made because some scumbag thought they could make money off of a popular series of books that they clearly had no interest in, knew nothing about, probably didn't even read before they got into production. Like, a lot of the people say Lord of the Rings is pretty good. I've never actually seen them. I'm going to watch them after High School Musical, or after I finish some other movies I was going to review too. But a lot of people say that those movies are made by someone who truly loves the books, and you can feel that in the movie, which I've never read them, but Fantastic Mr. Fox feels that way too. A lot of movies feel like that. But, it's like, you can really tell when someone just doesn't understand the point of something you like, and they get their grubby little hands on it because they think it will make money. This has happened a lot with Batman and Superman for me, and it's really made me sad. But yeah, moving on from that, so let's get to the actual news. So it was rumored a while back that that they were gonna do a TV show adaptation of Percy Jackson, with the creator being involved, the creator of the series, the author, I'm forgetting his name. He was gonna be involved, and he was saying he wanted this to happen, and now it is officially happening at Disney Plus. I want to know what the budget for this is going to be, but if they give it the right budget and a decent amount for visual effects, this could be something that is legitimately good and profitable for Disney. I don't know how well it will work out, and I hope it does work out. Because what this means is that Disney is now looking to properties that did not do so well that they could revive and do something new with. And if this works out, maybe we'll get another Tron movie. We'll get National Treasure 3. These things have been wanted from a long time, and they haven't happened. And if Disney will see that, hey, we tried this new thing, it worked out, let's move on to this and that and this and that, we could get some legitimately good revivals. Also, if they're looking for random properties they own to do adaptations of TV shows of, Gargoyles is something that I want. I want that to happen. I want this to happen. I have a whole list, honestly, of things I'd like them to do. And if they could do this in a way that works out well, this is something I would be legitimately excited to see. And I'd really love to just indulge in this if it works out. So if the series comes out, because again, this is something that's announced, tons of projects get announced and get canceled. If or when it does get released, I will definitely be talking about it. But here's the thing, I have a feeling this will get canceled because of the failure of the Percy Jackson movies. They were kind of a big failure. Like, they weren't major bombs, but they were just major disappointments for the studio. They just wanted so much more out of this franchise. And if it works out, I really hope it does. But it seems like every streaming service right now is trying to get a book series to make a series out of. Amazon has Wheel of Time and Lord of the Rings, and I'm interested to see how the Lord of the Rings one and Wheel of Time one turns out. I'm mostly excited for Wheel of Time because I love all 13 of those books. So we'll see what happens. I don't really care too much about whether or not these people involved with the Percy Jackson series have worked on the live action film too much, but I also don't want the same people, writers, returning and stuff. So hopefully they get the right crew, the right actors and stuff. They definitely have to recast. Obviously, all those actors are older, and hopefully they don't do the route of the movie where they made Luke the villain of the both movies, which it's kind of like, if you know the book, it's a lot more complicated than that. It's not just like, hey, let's do that. No. There's a lot more to this, but I recommend you check out Percy Jackson as a book series if you're interested. But honestly, be warned, if you don't get into them, I totally get it. I didn't get into them. Here's my thing. There's an objective side to my criticisms and a subjective side. The subjective side is like, it's not my thing. The objective side is like, oh yeah, these are pretty darn good. So you should check them out.